Over 250. Then Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo.
You can't take Crawford's skill away. You know, you have to give him credit for his skill. You know, he's an amazing fighter. He's an amazing technician in the ring. And
Benavidez is like 6 foot something. You know what I mean? Then he gonna come in 190, 200 probably. You know what I mean? Like you never know. Like that's a big dude. Like you know what I mean?
And he's skilled, man.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I might as well go to heavyweight if I fight Benavidez.
After defeating the kingpin of boxing, Terence Crawford and his team are now targeting a whole new monster in the ring, David Benavidez. The very same Benavidez who many fans believe Canelo Alvarez avoided for years has suddenly become the next name on Crawford's radar, setting the stage for what could be one of boxing's biggest and most dangerous matchups.
it's like 64.
Over 250. Then Crawford will fight you if he beats Canelo.
I wouldn't fight Crawford. I'm at 175.
Everyone knew Terence Crawford wasn't chasing Canelo Alvarez for the payday. He was chasing legacy, greatness, and the opportunity to cement his name in boxing history. Now, in order to continue building that legacy, Team Crawford has turned its attention to the most feared force at 168 pounds. David Benavidez, the fighter known to the boxing world as the Mexican Monster.
Anyone you'd want to see Bud fight in this era that you think, you know what, that'd be a great fight?
Well, I would say Benavidez, but he's too, you know, that weight class is too high for him. So, you know, where he's at now is great.
If this fight happens, it would have to take place at super middleweight, the natural territory of David Benavidez. But here's the scary part for the division. Terence Crawford has already proven at 168 pounds that he's not just there to survive. Against bigger men, he's there to thrive.
Kamaru, Terence Crawford versus the Mexican monster, David Benavidez.
I knew it was coming.
He was the mandatory for Canelo.
Oh my God. Relax.
What's up? The scariest guy in the division.
He's not in the division.
He said he could still make 168 pounds. The reason why he was up because nobody wants to fight.
Or against Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford looked like a bolt of lightning in the ring. Too fast, too slick, and too sharp, leaving Canelo swinging at nothing but shadows. Now imagine that same speed, elite timing, and ring IQ being tested against the naturally bigger and relentless David Benavidez. That's the kind of collision that could completely shake up the boxing world. Interview.
He said he wondered if Benavidez could make 168 with the thinking in mind.
And he was like, nah, we don't want to do that.
I just think Benavidez, he's like what, 6'5", 6 something like that. He's a big dude, bro.
Turki Alalshikh has been all smiles following Terence Crawford's huge victory. And now he's adding even more fuel to the fire on social media. He recently posted on X asking, "Can David Benavidez still make 168 pounds?" A comment many fans see as a strong hint that a potential Crawford versus Benavidez showdown could already be on his radar.
Posted on social media asking if David Benavidez is still capable of making it down to 168. Now, we're not sure if this little tease that Turki made was targeted as a hint for a future fight between Crawford and Benavidez or Canelo versus Benavidez.
But here's the catch. David Benavidez doesn't seem too eager about fighting Terence Crawford right now. And honestly, that sounds familiar. The same thing happened with Canelo Alvarez. At first, Canelo brushed aside the idea of facing Bud, but once a massive 9-figure payday entered the conversation, the fight suddenly became one of the biggest events of his career. That's the influence of Turki Alalshikh. When that level of money gets involved, hesitation disappears fast. Fighters can talk about legacy all day, but those massive checks have a way of turning "I'm not interested" into "where do I sign?"
Feel like Bud needs a Benavidez, and then that would mean Benavidez would have to go into a different body and bring himself back down to 68 when he's already getting settled in at 175. That's just Turki trying to pull rank. Turki trying to show he got a golden arm. You know what I mean?
Now here's where things really start to get crazy. After all the talk about Turki Alalshikh throwing around massive money for super fights, Terence Crawford finally gave fans a glimpse into how he truly feels about facing David Benavidez, and you can hear both the respect and the disbelief in his voice. Crawford basically admitted that Benavidez is built like a heavyweight hiding in a smaller division, but even joked that if he takes that fight, he might as well start fighting heavyweights altogether. That says everything about the size, pressure, and danger Benavidez brings into the ring.
You were at 168. When we think about anybody at 168 outside of Canelo, the first name that comes to anybody's mind is David Benavidez. What about the potential for a fight like that?
Oh, like I said, man, that's a big dude. You know what I mean? He ain't even at 168. You know, when you look
right, not now. It's at 175, yeah.
He probably can't even make 168 no.
Honestly, David Benavidez really does look enormous on fight night, like a guy who could have skipped straight past super middleweight and landed in cruiserweight. But that's what makes Terence Crawford so fascinating. Even while acknowledging Benavidez' size and danger, but still believes his speed, timing, ring IQ, and pure boxing skill give him the advantage. That's the confidence that defines Crawford. He'll admit you're bigger, stronger, and dangerous, then calmly explain why he still believes he can outclass you. And honestly, that mentality is a huge reason fans respect him so much. He's not avoiding the challenge. He's studying it like a chess match and trusting his skills to solve the puzzle interview.
When you look at these fights, you know, especially coming up, you gotta be realistic. You gotta, you know, say, all right, you know, how big is this dude really is? Because David Benavidez, he can fight his ass off. You know, me personally, I believe in my skills and my ability that I can beat anybody.
Terence Crawford, big pieces or small pieces don't matter. He still believes he's the one controlling the chessboard. And honestly, that confidence is what makes him so entertaining. But looks at David Benavidez, sees a man built like a skyscraper, and still talks like he's figuring out which floor he's going to knock him out on. Only Crawford can make facing a giant like Benavidez sound like just another day at the office. But right when fans started getting carried away with all the hype around this possible super fight, Robert Garcia jumped in with a reality check. Sounding like the guy at the barbecue, telling you your plate might be a little too full.
He should have maybe fought Benavidez instead. Maybe that would have been a better fight for him.
Who?
Benavidez.
Oh no, Benavidez would destroy him. Not even close. Just like Benavidez would destroy Crawford.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Hearing Robert Garcia say that David Benavidez would destroy both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford was wild. It's like, relax, coach. Let the fans dream a little first. But at the same time, Garcia wasn't trying to sugarcoat reality. He was basically reminding everyone that while Crawford is a once-in-a-generation talent, Benavidez is a completely different kind of problem. A non-stop pressure machine with size, power, and volume that can make even elite fighters look human. And honestly, that's what makes the matchup so fascinating. It's one thing to outbox people your size, but dealing with someone as naturally massive and relentless as Benavidez is a whole different challenge. Still, the way Garcia dropped that statement so casually had fans reacting like he just flipped the whole conversation upside down.
There's no chance. There's no chance. Benavidez is too big, too strong, too fast for these guys. Benavidez would beat these two guys, I would say, easy.
And Robert Garcia didn't even pause before shutting the whole conversation down, like a dad cutting off the Wi-Fi because you've been gaming too long. But that's the thing with David Benavidez. Everybody agrees he's a monster, a naturally bigger fighter with non-stop pressure and serious power. Still, every single time people say someone is too big, too strong, or too dangerous for Terence Crawford, but somehow pulls off another masterpiece and makes elite fighters look ordinary. That's why this matchup is so hard to ignore. Logic says Benavidez could overwhelm him, but Crawford has spent his entire career proving that skill, timing, and intelligence can break every rule people swear by. And honestly, if this fight ever becomes reality, fans would line up instantly to watch it.
And like I said, Crawford is one of my favorites of all times now because of what he just accomplished, what he just did. But Benavidez is too big for him, too fast, too strong. I wouldn't even want to see it. Canelo, Benavidez beats him too.
Robert Garcia already had boxing fans choking on their barbecue plates with that brutal reality check about David Benavidez. And then, out of nowhere, Shane Mosley came flying in with an even crazier take. Sugar Shane straight up said that Terence Crawford might actually be better than Floyd Mayweather Jr., the kind of statement that makes boxing fans pause the video, stare at the screen, and start arguing like it's a championship round in the living room. What made it even wilder was how confident Mosley sounded. He wasn't second-guessing himself at all. He explained it by saying Mayweather was incredibly technical and defensive. But Crawford brings a different kind of danger with his long-reach, old-school grit, switch-hitting ability, and willingness to fight anyone, anywhere, under any conditions.
The fight, Canelo was like, he's better than Mayweather. So, maybe it was just different because Crawford's arms are so long. His arms are really long, so it's kind of hard to hit him. But he did everything, man. He's the man.
And the crazy part is, you can't even completely dismiss what Shane Mosley is saying because deep down, a lot of fans see the argument. Now imagine all the debate shows exploding over it, analysts losing their minds, boxing fans arguing nonstop, and every barbershop turning into a live pay-per-view panel discussion. That's the kind of conversation that keeps the sport alive, because once people start comparing Terence Crawford to Floyd Mayweather Jr., the debate instantly becomes endless. And then Mosley casually threw in another bombshell by talking about Canelo Alvarez potentially stepping away from boxing someday, saying Canelo has already accomplished more than enough in the sport. He even mentioned the possibility of Canelo eventually training fighters or taking a massive money spectacle fight against Jake Paul, proving once again that in modern boxing, legacy and giant paydays are constantly colliding.
Do you think he should retire?
Yeah, Canelo is more so into training, probably fighters and helping people. Like he already did what he needed to do. There's nothing really more he can do in the sport.
Only in boxing can a conversation go from all-time great debates to people seriously imagining Canelo Alvarez smacking around Jake Paul for giant streaming numbers. That's what makes this era so wild. We're literally watching history shift in real time. Terence Crawford building a legacy that forces people into uncomfortable comparisons. Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s shadow still hanging over the sport. And legends like Shane Mosley casually stirring up chaos with a smile on their face. And honestly, if Canelo ever actually stepped into the ring with Jake Paul, the internet would probably explode overnight. Boxing fans act like they hate that kind of circus. But deep down, everybody knows they'd still tune in just to witness the madness unfold.